going on there, jerk faces? It's your boy Andy, and you're watching Nocturnal Transmissions, brought to you by the Circle of Jerks podcast. It's our weekly live stream where we talk about news, current events, and of course, lately it's been more of a forum for thought exercises and more esoteric topics. But with me, as ever, is the homeboy Rob. Likewise. I know, who wouldn't want to be with me? Who wouldn't want to see me? Yeah. So be on the lookout for more content coming soon. We got a bunch of topics to discuss today, along with our it's so hard to talk. It's so hot right now. But of course, along with our movie review and I know because I already paid for it. That'd be stupid to just dump it down the drain. But yeah, our movie review this month's I don't know if it's a theme, but double feature, I guess. Double feature month. That's great. A French film from 1955. I do have thoughts, but I'm going to save them for the review. I haven't seen many French films, to be honest. Right. Of course you do. That course. Yeah. All I will say is the lead actress in this is super hot. I definitely saw some nipple. Yeah, but the main actress, what is it? Vera Clouseau. That's right. That's right. She is a tasty slice, for sure. Oh, that's sad. Right. Anything you want to share? Anything to report for the past week? Yeah. Oh yeah, the reverse here. Oh yeah, that's my method of cooking steaks. I actually do the reverse. I stick it in the oven first. I first get the oven all the way up to like 550, and then preheat, and then when it's time to put it in the oven, I then drop it down to 250, and then let it go for about an hour. Yeah. Yeah, that's a, yeah. And interestingly enough, yeah, I do it the French way at the end, where I after it's been in the oven, I finish it off in the pan to get that crust, and then I do a garlic and either thyme or rosemary butter based, a cast iron, and just and I'm just constantly bathing the steak in the butter that's then being infused by the thyme, rosemary, garlic. Mm. Oh, but when I do the reverse here, I also put it on a wire rack so that the hot air gets to go all the way around the steak. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, and also invest in a digital thermometer or like digital read for thermometer. It's yeah, it's completely worth it. Just for a precision. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, guessing. Yeah. Mm. Right. It'll get dried out and. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Shoe leather. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, and I'm actually just really quick. I'm actually coming around on a lot of things, particularly about meats and like the doneness of certain like, and I'm starting to like really factor in like the cut of meat because like yeah for a tri-tip yeah you definitely want to go more on the rarer end, but I think for meat that's more marble that has more like you know you can get away with it being like well done. Yeah, which I know a lot of like I'm sure a lot of like carnivores out there are like furiously typing like no you're wrong and because like I think like for a ribeye I think you can get away with going a little bit more well done because of the the fat that's I forget what the term is but like inside like the meat. Hmm. Hmm. Right. Hmm. 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 Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, and it's a matter of like minutes. Yeah, it's still cooking. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, you get like an accurate one, and also like yeah, also do like testing. Like I think like one of the best ways that I found was doing the ice test and just getting a cup fill with ice and water, and then dip the probe into the water, and if it comes out as freezing, like 52 or Fahrenheit or 0 degrees in Celsius, then it's accurate. Yeah. Is that the one with Morgan Freeman? Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. 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 It's so interesting because yeah, that character Alex Cross is kind of like the black Jack Ryan. Because they actually they try to do another they try to do kind of like a reboot with Tyler Perry, yeah, exactly. But I mean, I didn't watch it, so I can't opine. Mhm. Yeah, I know. Mm, mm. You think maybe it's just who they cast? Uh, is he more seasoned and like older? Oh, son of a bitch.
Everything okay?
Yeah, but I just realized I didn't. I thought I unmuted you, but I didn't.
Also, like it's just.
So yeah, it just sounded like I was talking to myself for the past like 13 minutes. Great.
Oh, that's always fun.
But anyway, yeah. I mean, I hope people got the gist of it. We were talking earlier. We were talking about steaks, and you were talking about how different cuts. You could stand more cooking or not. Blah 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 blah. You needed a meat thermometer. You thought you had one, but you didn't. And I'm not. And then so you are on your way to be
A steak
padding
connoisseur.
out the necessary equipment for proper steak cookery.
I do have a cast iron skillet, but I need to learn how to like maintain that properly. I haven't used it yet.
Yeah, that's it's kind of one of the things. It's worth it, but it's a pain in the butt because because
Do you have,
you can wash it like soap water whatever, but then you just
but
have to go back and season it again with like the oil and
I see. I'm
yeah.
gonna. But do you know how to like properly maintain one though?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not hard. It's just just
Okay,
after every wash, you just season it again, and that's just like
I'm gonna have,
heating it up, heating up the skillet, and then taking some like neutral oil, paper towel, and just like rubbing it into the cooking side, and
yeah,
or
I'm,
all over.
I'm gonna have you show me one day
Yeah,
because I need to learn how to use one.
yeah. Again, it's I think it's worth it, but maintenance is kind of a pain in the butt.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, like the so I don't know if there's any like of the Alex Cross novels that deal with him as like a younger guy.
Hmm.
Yeah, like I said, he's like a seasoned guy who's like a little bit older, probably like in. Now, I mean, obviously Morgan Freeman is much older. He's probably 60 when he did that film, or like in his 50s.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's so crazy because I've never seen a young Morgan Freeman. He's just always been less old.
well, that here's the thing. He started like he's been acting like
Yeah.
for forever. Like as far as like, but he was a stage actor, so he
Mm.
was on stage a lot. His first film role, he was almost 50.
Really? No, I see. I do remember one movie where he played a pimp.
I'm trying to
Yeah,
think.
yeah, I and I think he was. I don't want to say he was in his 50s. That can't be right.
He's almost like right now. He's almost 80, or he's in his 80s.
Shit.
He
That's
kind of
old.
he ages like Max von Sydow. It's like he's just gotten like he's looked the same age like since like he you saw him like
No, I mean that's what I'm saying. Like I've never seen like a young Morgan Freeman. I've just seen a less old Morgan Freeman.
right, yeah, it's like because now like yeah he's in his 80s and stuff like
Mm.
that. Like yeah, he was when he started acting he was in his like his big breakout role he was like 50 something.
Is that Glory?
I had to imagine. Yeah, so he was
Oh
probably
no, but
like,
then like yeah, but then he did that movie, God, where he was like the principal. He couldn't have been 50 then.
he was like close to being in his 50s. Like he was not a young guy.
So he's like more like kind of like old, like late 40s.
Yeah, and that's because like he thought like he was gonna just kind of like be a stage guy. Like he was gonna
Hmm.
act on the stage, and he just happened to catch a break, for the movies, and he never turned back.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean the only other like early kind of like because he did some TV work too. You know, 'cause he was part of the Electric Company. Um, that PBS run kind of like kids show.
Oh yeah, yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the Electric Company. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
it's
right. That's right.
it's like the less well known like Sesame Street.
Right.
Um, but
But that's
yeah, it's like yeah, and I think because there are so many like reboot because what is it for Jack Ryan? You know, they did like the kind of like natural progression where they got the young guy in Alec Baldwin and they moved into like the older kind of character of our older actor in Harrison Ford. You
right.
know, and then back to young Jack Ryan with what's his face,
Chris Pine.
Chris Pine.
Oh no. Before that, it was Ben Affleck. Ben
Oh
Affleck
yeah, Ben
was
Affleck too. That didn't
Ben
work,
was
and
Chris Pine.
I feel bad for Chris Pine because I would think he would have done a good job as a young Jack Ryan, and I actually would have liked to have seen how he would have taken the character.
That's the one That's the one of like the Jack Ryan films that I have not seen.
Oh, Shadow
I mean,
Recruit.
yeah, I haven't seen that one yet.
Okay.
I have watched some of All Fears. That's the Ben Affleck one. I've watched the
Yeah.
Harrison Ford ones,
Yeah.
and of course,
Well,
Hunt.
interestingly enough, Morgan Freeman's in that one.
Some of All Fears. Yeah, that's right. He
Mm-hmm.
is.
But
And
yeah, I would have liked to see Chris Pine do more of Jack Ryan because I think as a young Jack Ryan, I think he did a
he's
good
a
job.
great actor. He
Hmm?
really was really good. I like Chris Pine.
Yeah, and I was interested in seeing like how where he would have taken the character. Because I remember, I think there was like an interview that was done a long time ago before Tom Clancy passed away, and he said like I don't know if it was jokingly, but he said he envisioned the ultimate career trajectory for Jack Ryan is to become president.
That would have been something.
Yeah. But yeah, and then John Krasinski like took over, and I like his take on the character.
He's good. I like it because I watched the first season of that.
Hmm.
That was really captivating, to be honest.
Hmm.
I really liked it.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward. I haven't watched season 2 yet, but
Hmm.
like I said, if it's anything like season 1, I'm in.
Season 2, I do remember enjoying. It's been a while since I've seen it, so I can't really recall, but I do remember enjoying it. And I just recently watched the third season too, and the third season was pretty good too.
Yeah, because that's the one that just came out, I think. So
Yeah.
yeah, like I said, I really I've enjoyed all the iterations of Jack Ryan because they bring in something a little bit different, but at the same time, it's like it's a character that you like.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, kind of getting back to my initial point was, I think that's what they're trying to do with the Alex Cross character is, and maybe they're hedging their bets because maybe they want an older person but still young enough to do like kind of like the action stuff. But when you have Tyler Perry, who made his career dressing up as a woman, like him being this badass action kind of guy,
No,
it doesn't work.
Now, like I said, there have been moments where he has been a good actor. Like I liked him in Gone Girl. I thought he was great in that movie. Um, but I would rather see like Denzel or Idris Elba or
Ooh, Idris Elba would have, especially if they're trying to reboot it to more towards action. Yeah, and at the time he would have been the right age.
Idris Elba would be fantastic. Right now, he'd be fantastic if they decided to do some more Alex Cross type novels, because there's a billion of them. Like, so it's you can do anything you want.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, you have like the type of character, but like, yeah, you can create like utilize any one of these. Like, I think there's like 15 of them or something like that. There's a lot.
Okay.
And like I said, his American accent is actually very
It's very
believable.
convincing, yeah.
Yeah, because I
Yeah, because
remember
even during The Wire, I didn't even know that he was
I had
British born.
no fucking idea that he was a British actor at
Yeah.
all.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, his Stringer Bell, fuck man, that he was a cool character. I liked him a lot. I was like, and when he died, I was like, no, I was like, I like him. It's like, this guy's making sense. Like, he's like, yeah, he's a gangster, but it's like, we're gonna do this shit like, like a business, like legitimate.
Yeah.
None of this dumb bullshit. Like, we're here to make money. It's like, but yeah,
And even like in a small little bit part in American Gangster, the Denzel one.
yeah,
Like, yeah, it's like he was so convincing.
he really
I
was.
mean, yeah, I mean he's just coming off from doing The Wire and stuff, so like he's probably still like kind of in that mode.
But still, he was great, and it was a different character too, because Stringer Bell is so like calm, collected. Like, the guy is dangerous, but at the same time, like it's just like he's a scary, calm guy. The guy that he plays in American Gangster is like just off his fucking rocker. Like,
he's more boisterous. Kind of like bigger personality, but
yeah,
I mean even in that short scene, he was great.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, that's been my week. Watching movies, cooking steaks, cleaning house.
Yeah, for me, not much. Not much to report. Did the outreach. A little bit discouraged because we didn't get as much traffic to like our setup, but the people but the members who went out into like the greater community in the area, they ran into a bunch of people, so I'm heartened by that, and like some people that we haven't seen in a while as well. So we got reports of seeing people like we haven't seen in a long time. Like this woman named Rebecca, like she has a really bad like back, but there was reports of seeing her, and so yeah, and so funny because like she kept getting my name wrong when I first met her.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kept trying to like, oh, my name's Andy, and then she kept just calling me Anthony, and so like, and so yeah, like even though we were like we kept like even though like me and like other members kept like trying to correct her, like, oh, it's Anthony, like, yeah, Anthony. so like I'm forever Anthony now to her,
which is what I'll call you now from now on.
Yeah.
My boy Anthony.
Yeah, my boy Anthony. So that was good. Of course it was Easter, so we had what is it? We had some infant dedications. Because my church, we don't do like the whole infant baptism thing. We just do the infant dedication.
Yeah.
Because we feel that a child shouldn't be baptized because they can't what is it? They it's
because they can't make that declaration for themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. I was about to say something that would have infuriated you, but
no, that's but like
right. Because I know this is like the word's kind of been poisoned, but like the idea of consent and like a child cannot consent to be part or be bound to certain protocols or behaviors,
right?
As a baby, and so instead, it's infant dedication where we're saying the parents say that they're gonna bring up this child, in the Christian tradition and by the teachings of Jesus Christ, and yada yada yada. And then also it's kind of like, there's also a participatory component where, my pastor will ask the church, like, oh, do you accept this child, and all the responsibilities of bringing them up within the church, and blah blah blah. And then we as a congregation all say we agree or yes. So that was good. And then we also had some confirmations, and that is people making public declarations of their faith.
Right.
And that means like they're either infant baptized, or or like in the case of my church, they're infant dedicated. And so now that they're making public declaration of faith.
That's great. It's yeah, you and I would be in the same camp, I think, as far as when it comes to like baptism. Like, I'm not to the point where it's like, you got your you had your baby like baptized, like this is totally wrong. It's like, I get it. Like, I understand. Like, there's some people that do like believe in that, and I like I've heard the arguments. Like, and like I said, I understand like why people do that. But like based off of like how I understand it to work, is that the baptism comes after you have made that declaration of faith, that you are choosing to live in the tenets of the faith, being a Christian, which you cannot do as an infant, because you can't talk. You don't, and I don't know. Maybe there's like something going on, and most likely, like, it's like I said, I completely understand why it happens. I would just say I would say it's not how I see it. It's like it's just based off of like from scripture of like what it means to actually be baptized and all that stuff. But hey, you know what? That's not, to me, that's not one of those things like, oh, well, you're not a real Christian if you do baby baptism. Like, yeah, it's like, and plus you guys are kind of doing like, yeah, you are making your point without being like a jerk about it. Like, because there are some churches out there, it's like, nope, not going to do it. We're not going to dunk your baby. It's like, we're not going to do any of that stuff. It's like, whereas like, no, this is important. Like, it is kind of like, it's more for like the parents too, like where it's like, you're almost like making a declaration as parents that we're gonna do our best to raise our child in the tenets of the faith, just as we have made that declaration for ourselves and the community. So in a sense, like it's maybe like you could say it's like a workaround or whatever, but I think it's still important.
Yeah. Well, I guess then I would ask you: are you a dunker or a sprinkler?
To be honest, I mean, all the biblical text like kind of is like, it is more of like you're submerged and you're risen up. But honestly, like, I don't think it really matters, to be honest. It's not about like the water. It's about like what is going on inside of you and the declaration making. That is the important thing. So as long as you are genuinely making that declaration to not because it's already happened. Like you've already made that dedication to God. This is more of like this because the community is also important when it comes to church. This is your declaration to the community of Christians, believers, because you're not a believer by yourself. You're now part of this family of Christians, and so it's you declaring that to the congregation, to the public, that yes, I am now a Christian, and I will live by the tenets of the faith, just as like I've made this same promise to Christ, and yeah. So I don't really think it matters, sprinkle, dunk. Like I said, there's gonna be other churches like, nope, if you're not like diving into the pool and like almost drowning, like then it's worthless. It's like, come on, bro.
It's like, you might as well be a Lutheran.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because because my church is, is more is more of the Presbyterian tradition. So
Right.
we do kind of like the sprinkle. Although my specific church, we have bent and we have done dunks.
Yeah.
So
And like I said, I don't think that it in the long run, like I don't really think it matters. Like it's not like, oh well, you were sprinkled, not dunked. Like it's not like you're gonna get kicked out of heaven. It's like what we got a sprinkler here. See, nobody cares.
It's like, sprinkler, we got a sprinkler here. Oh, yeah, I just got the reference. See, nobody cares. Oh man, I love that meme. I love that meme. Yeah, but it was good.
That's that been
yeah, that's
week then.
yeah, that's it for catching up. Yeah, let's get into the topics of the day.
Where should we start?
Um, I mean, do you have a preference?
No, I don't. I am giving it up to the host.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, because both of these are kind of yours, but all right, let's go. Let's do the JFK one.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we obviously this is the probably like the second time we've talked about JFK within like the last month or so.
Yeah.
But the reason I bring it up is because before I was asking you like what your thoughts were on the JFK conspiracy, like his assassination and stuff, like what you thought had happened. But I recently this past week I watched.
Well, to recap the people that you haven't seen, I do think it was a conspiracy. And I think it was elements of our government and maybe like the private sector, which we would now understand as, or colloquially understand as, the deep state.
Yeah.
And that's who I think is responsible for JFK's assassination. And also, like, my whole introduction to the JFK assassination was my high school history teacher, and he gave like a full on PowerPoint presentation of why it was conspiracy, and who like might have been involved, like definitely elements of the CIA, and then like the defense contracting industry, and other like maybe like foreign actors, things like that. He actually gave me the PowerPoint presentation, with the slides and everything, and it was on a CD-ROM, which I'm still in the process of trying to find.
If you find that, I want to see this thing
Yeah.
because I'm really interested because
I know I still have it. I know it's like in a box somewhere. I just need to find it.
The deep state took it from you. That's what happened.
That's what it was.
But no, this past week I recently watched for the first time Oliver Stone's JFK film. And the reason why I was interested in listening to it is because a few months ago he was on I don't know if it was like all these timelines seem to kind of blend together, but he was on Rogan's podcast not that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he did talk. One of the big portions of that interview was his thoughts on the JFK assassination, like the film that he made, obviously out of that. And this is a guy who did years of research on this thing. I mean, this is a passion project for him, and his movie is kind of like based off of his findings and like the investigation behind it. It is a true story. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's some embellishments or whatever here and there, but it's about the investigation behind JFK that this one New Orleans district attorney brought forth, and like it was kind of like helping to uncover the conspirators that were behind it. And man, like yeah, like you were saying, like you believe that it is like the the deep state that was behind it. And like the one thing I don't agree with the film is they did kind of like shine like, oh, like JFK was this like shining beacon of light, and it was this it's like he was this great president. And I was like, well, I don't know, I wouldn't go that far. What it is he's just a guy that really pissed off the wrong people. And sure, like yeah, it goes to, he pissed off the people that got him elected, which was the mob, because that election in 1960 was probably stolen. Um,
Oh
you
yeah, for sure. I mean, his yeah, his daddy and his mob connections. Yeah,
yeah,
there were a lot of dead people that voted Democrat that year.
um, like I said, so I do believe that happened, but he also turned his back on those people,
Right.
um, which, and I don't know if that's because certain people didn't get like cabinet positions they were supposed to get. He didn't help. He didn't give certain favors back. I know like the whole. I know like his brother went
Well,
after the mob pretty hard.
yeah. Well, that
So
was like one. I was just about to bring
that
that
was
up
one.
because like yeah, because his brother Bobby, who he appointed, attorney general, like started a prosecution of organized crime.
Yeah, but you also have like the whole bungling of the
Or the Bay of Pigs
Bay of
invasion.
Pigs. And he was also, I think, he was trying to pull out of like the whole, because it wasn't the Vietnam War yet. It was just like we were helping with the excursion. Like
Right,
we
because
had,
because at the time Vietnam was kind of like a French colony, and so like yeah, it was really kind of a France thing. But then they asked for our help, which then got us involved.
now we were there before Kennedy was elected president. That was
Hmm.
a Eisenhower thing,
Right.
and it just kind of kept going. And but as I think he was planning on like in 60 before he was assassinated, he had plans to like pull our troops out. And it's like yeah, it's like we've helped you as much as we can. And it's
Hmm.
like now it's up to you to help yourselves. But once again, the like what Eisenhower talked about, like the military industrial complex, it's like
Hmm.
there's a lot of money to be made there, and so, which is, I mean, come on, it's the same fucking story that we have right now, like
Hmm.
with like Ukraine and Russia. Like, there's no, honestly, there is no reason why we should be helping those people at all.
Right. No.
There's no reason that we should have been in Afghanistan for 20 fucking years.
Right.
There, like,
Yeah. I
there's
mean, yeah. The only thing that okay, one of the reasons why we were in, Vietnam and in Afghanistan and now like Ukraine is really weapons development. If you think about it, like what better way to get around, you know, like the illegality of testing on human beings than an active like theater of war.
yeah, exactly, yeah, exactly, bingo.
Yeah, I mean, because yeah, you could blow up all of the ballistics gel like dummies you
You
want, but it's not the same as blowing up an actual human being with like blood vessels and
exactly
and brain matter and like seeing what the destructive capabilities of your new weapon is.
right. So yeah, pretty. And, and what's unfortunate is that you have these people in power, and the people who are really suffering are like because the soldier, it was pretty much the soldiers were the ones that were devastated by that.
Hmm.
Either like through them dying over there, or they have a lot of trauma that they're dealing with that nobody cares about, or they get spit on when they come back home,
Right.
which is also what happened, which is bullshit. And
Yeah.
it's like the people you should be
Oh,
spitting
that's funny.
on.
Sorry to interrupt you, but remember when we had Daryl on
Hmm.
and he was talking about his experience with Nam and everything, and
Yeah.
how how he said that and he closed out the episode saying that if you see a Vietnam War veteran, to welcome them home. And it's funny because like my dad, we were traveling, mid like basically last year. I went traveling with my dad to Memphis, and
Mhm.
at the airport, my dad, he was wearing like his Vietnam veteran hat, and the like someone from like an airline like thanked him for his service.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then I went to him to the side. It's like, hey, it's like, thank you for that, but in the future, could you please just, if you see someone sporting a Vietnam veteran hat, just welcome them home.
Yeah.
And so and I had to say it really fast because my dad was like walking away, and so I
Yeah.
had to like catch up to him, but I at least like imparted that information to that guy, and so.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, just it's yeah, because that's what you should do because they didn't get a welcome home. They got spit on, which is bullshit. It's really fucked up. But yeah, it's like so what you find out is that it's this big money. Uh, these guys they wanted war to happen so that they could continue with these defense contracts. Make I mean billions of dollars. It's like $20 billion or some crazy number, especially for like 1960 whatever. And it's just like that's what it was. And you they these people were taking out the people like that had the ability to say something or do something about it. That could kind of blow the lid on it. They put those guys to the side, if not outright killed them. And uh, they knew that Kennedy was, at least, say what you will about him, probably a gay guy, as like it's like talked about. It's like, um, but yeah, like he'd spit in the wrong people's faces,
Mhm.
and they exacted their revenge. And it's crazy to think about, like, because when you think about like, oh, it's crazy. How could all these people lie about like this one thing, and like how is it that the secret like never comes out? It's like, well, honestly, it does come out. Like, but the reason is like a lot of these people, it's the law of like they're all in the same room, and it's like, hey, this is gonna happen. We're all culpable, so you shut your mouth, and or you're gonna die. Um, there's that aspect of it. They all benefited off of this happening. Like a lot of the like the deep staters. Whether it be um, the Joint Chiefs or uh, people like within the government that just never fucking go away.
Mhm.
And then you also have like these semi-private citizens that have like these businesses, but it's kind of the thing that we're dealing with now, where you have, oh, they're a private business, yet the government and them work together. It's like it's kind of gross. It was happening back then too. And yeah, you get there's a reason why a lot of the documentation that they do have is like, if it's not outright destroyed, it's under lock and key. Like they're never gonna let that out for until, hell, we might be old men by the time, like, so we're like 3 or 4 generations removed from anyone giving a shit. Because I think even now, if like those documents were leaked and like what actually took place, I think the scary thing is like, whoa, they took out a president, like, and I think that would enrage the American people, like to the point where it's like our government like took out a person that we elected, and they are doing these things like that. But that was back in the '60s. What are they doing now?
Right.
Because
And you're right about we're probably not going to find out until we're old men, and that's kind of the point, because there's still people alive linked to this.
yeah,
Um, and so like, yeah, like if that information got out, they could still be criminally prosecuted.
yeah,
So
So
yeah, they're not gonna release any of that stuff until the last like conspirator is dead,
yeah,
and
it's
maybe even not until then, and maybe not even after then.
yeah. I think they are going to. I think they are going to let those documents just rot in a cell, in some bunker somewhere until the fucking end of time.
Yeah, yeah, because imagine like our imagine if like some years down the line, people there was talks about like like the actual files for the 9/11 investigation were to come out, and it was to show like that 9/11 was an inside job, as some people think. Maybe.
Can you imagine if that actually was if I'm not sure I believe that story, but let's say it is. Let's just for the sake of this argument say that it's
Mhm,
true.
mhm.
And it's like that was allowed to come out like can you imagine the rage that would happen?
Oh my gosh, like that would literally kill our country.
Yeah.
Like
I think like even like but even this like I think I honestly I hope that these documents do come out because people need to know that the government is not for them.
mhm.
Yeah, because the beginnings of like the type of government that we have now was starting to build back then. It wasn't
Right.
as if it but like even back then, like even like at its like beginnings of like kind of like this deep state sludge fest, they had the power to take out a president. How much more power do you think they have now?
Yeah, of course. It'd be substantially more, of course.
Yeah.
And it'd be easier too, because like now because of the infiltration and like their control over media and things like that, they could spin the death of a political leader any way they want. I
Yeah.
mean, shoot, they spun the death of Saddam Hussein and Gaddafi as these great victories for democracy.
Okay.
Yeah, a guy being bayoneted in the ass on the streets of his own country. Yeah, that's super great for democracy.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, a guy who wasn't doing anything, like literally he was just yeah, it's like you could say like, oh yeah, well he gassed his own people. It's like, yeah, his own people. He wasn't starting shit with us.
yeah, exactly. It's like, and to be honest,
And
like,
of course
is
and
that
of course that I'm talking about Saddam Hussein.
yeah,
And yeah, he
and
wasn't
that
starting shit with us. He was like
yeah,
he was off in his own country, gassing his people. Trying to get on a gold. Try to get his country on a gold standard.
yeah.
Um,
Is he a horrible person? Sure, absolutely.
hmm Yeah,
But
Yeah, don't get it twisted. I'm not making any. I'm not making any defenses for Saddam Hussein. But yeah, he was doing it to his own people. He was not
yeah, there's
committing
no
acts. He wasn't committing acts of war against the United States.
yeah. It's like I don't give a shit about Iraq. It's like fine. It's like let Iraq deal with Iraq
hmm
as it should be.
As it should be.
The
But yeah, it's like that. But then again, that goes into like the idea of mission creep because that's what happened in Vietnam. Because it was like, oh yeah, we're just gonna go into Vietnam. It's like, oh well, maybe a little bit in Cambodia. Oh, and a little bit into Laos.
yeah, and it's
It's
like
like, oh, we're only going to Afghanistan. It's like, oh, well, a little bit into Iraq.
but when I watched this movie, the thing that like everyone laughs at like Trump saying like, "Oh, they were spying on me," like our campaign and all this stuff. It's like, yeah, no shit, they were.
Yeah, they were.
Like when you go back into that time frame, like you look at a J. Edgar Hoover was spying on presidential candidates and all these people like all the time.
Yeah, I
He
probably
had
knew JFK was a homo.
yeah, he had records of all this shit. Of course, he like knew about all this stuff.
hmm
And it's like, and do you think that like the other FBI directors like wouldn't do the same fucking thing because they have the power to do it?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, of course, because information is power. Partly, I mean, money's power too, but like
Yeah.
information
Yeah.
is power.
Yeah. It's information is a component of power.
So it's like, for me, it's like, it when he made that declaration, it's like, yeah, of course they did, and I'm sure that it happened with guys like Barack Obama. It happened with all these people because these guys don't go away. The FBI, well, at least the directors really don't go away. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they stick around for fucking ever, and it's not, they're not like the nowadays, like it's been completely corrupted. But I think it's, in to a degree, it's always been a little bit corrupt. The idea of the FBI was actually a brilliant idea, but when you start getting more power and more money and more legislation that like gives you power that you probably shouldn't have,
Yeah,
you know,
and that's another problem because like it's the legislature who's constantly abdicating their power onto like supporting bureaucracies. That's
it,
the problem.
that's the problem, because that is their job to handle that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not doing it.
Right, because like they passed a law, but then like for I guess like enforcement, they turn it over to bureaucratic support systems.
Yeah,
But then it's and maybe that's the right thing to do for enforcement. But then when it comes to then coming up with legislation, like they're now deferring to those support bureaucracies to come up with the laws, which then they go and rubber stamp.
yeah.
Which again, it goes against like the original like system.
It's just uh, watching actually, it's funny watching this. And I actually after I watched JFK, I watched J. Edgar, the Clint Eastwood movie. Um, that's actually not a bad double feature, watching those back to back, because like,
Mm-hmm.
man, like our government has, like, the 20th century really, like, uh probably starting with like Woodrow Wilson especially,
Mm-hmm.
really did a number on uh the country as a whole. I think these people did a lot of damage,
Mm-hmm.
as far as like, because now when you like kind of like try to connect the dots, like, where we started to where we are,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of you can see a lot of the bumps in the road start around the 20th century.
Mm-hmm.
And you could argue, like, even back, we did talk about that with Abraham Lincoln, and like, in that era of the Civil War and all that.
Mm-hmm.
There was
His suspension of habeas corpus, his jailing and deportation of journalists who are critical of him.
Yeah. So like I said, there was bumps in the road there, but like the 20th century is like where like the road got real rocky.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Or yeah, so that's just when like leaders and stuff they took a jackhammer to the road.
yeah, pretty much. And it's like um it's just, I'm just blown away, like how it just, with all this stuff, it's like, yeah, of course they killed Kennedy. Of course they spy on political leaders that upset the you know the uh,
Status quo.
the status quo. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
of course they're gonna do that.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like, I'm pretty sure if they wanted to, they're gonna kill. They're gonna, if they can't jail them or whatever, they're gonna kill them.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean it's like now. I mean it's bad, but it's like now everyone's hands are dirty, right? So like no one can ever rat on anyone ever again. So it's like it's not that this is like a one and done thing. It's
Yeah,
like we done this before. We're all guilty. Like if I go down, if you rat on me, I'm gonna rat on you. We're gonna go down together. And so
And
they maintain this precarious alliance amongst each other, even though like they don't even trust each other. They like those people at that level, those people can't trust anybody. But then they have to because they have no choice.
yeah, and the other thing that like I think is really telling in this film that also did happen, the media is complicit. They were there too. Like it's like they're not, maybe they weren't necessarily involved, but they held uh they kind of held the hand of the government. It's like, oh, do you believe that like the government killed the president? Are you insane? Oh, like we're so we know so much better than you. It's like, fuck you, man.
Yeah,
It's like,
and interestingly enough, it was the CIA who came up with the term conspiracy theorist as a pejorative.
yep,
And this was the inciting incident, the JFK assassination.
yeah.
Like the term conspiracy theorist came from people who
Then
are looking into this, and it's like
because the
things
American
aren't adding up.
it could be, and the people that were there that saw it, it's like, no, there were multiple. There wasn't just like 2 or 3 gunshots. There was like 6 or 7, and they're coming from like all these different directions. And because you have people that have war veterans that were there, that were there at or people that were there at the grassy knoll, and like there was weird stuff that was happening, like, and like their testimony was being changed, all this stuff was like all of a sudden, like, where there was newspaper articles that had come out that Lee Harvey Oswald had shot Kennedy before it happened. It was but it was because it was papers from overseas. Like one of the guys that was giving information to this dude, he was saying, it's like, yeah, like I'm looking at a paper from, like, I'm in New Zealand. I'm looking at a paper that just came out, and they haven't even named like a suspect, or like it literally just happened, and I'm seeing Lee Harvey Oswald shot Kennedy. It's like, how is that possible? It's like, it's so all this stuff is so weird, and uh I am 100% convinced that this is, yeah, it was not some lone gunman. There was multiple gunmen. It was, like you said, the deep state. It's and then you get people to, like, how, well, the news isn't going to lie about that. Our government officials, they're experts. Why would they lie about it? And so you get people that buy in because they want to believe that their institutions work. And that's also the point that's made in this movie. It's like, this is a country that is your country. If it is a country that is for the people, by the people, for the people and by the people. Like this, it is our country. These people work for us, and you have to wake up. And that's what needs to happen today too. Like, you know, you have to stop like revering these political, like the people that you vote for. I have like
like these politicians, they need a healthy dose of fear of the populace.
Like I said,
Right
I
now,
think,
they don't fear us.
yeah,
They don't fear consequences. Like you say, oh, like someone might, someone who's like kind of awoken and been like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna vote you out. And you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna laugh in your face, because
sure you will.
It's like, yeah, exactly. The politician that you confront, it's like, oh, you know what? We're gonna vote you out. They're gonna laugh in your fucking face because they know that nothing's gonna happen to them. They will never be held accountable.
Yeah, and that's why, like, I always tell people, stop revering, Supreme Court justices. Stop revering. Like, I'm not saying that like you can't, like, that, like, oh, you know what, I like certain aspects about them. They seem kind of cool, or like, or whatever. But like, you have to but you have to remember, they're your employee. You vote for them. Well, maybe not the Supreme Court justices, but like the people that you vote.
But yeah, at least like the legislatures.
Yeah.
The legislators, you vote them in. I mean, quote unquote, vote them in.
Yeah.
And
So we have to take that.
If they don't have a healthy they don't have a healthy fear of you, then something's wrong. And this like idea of like voting people out, it's like, oh, we'll fix it by voting. It's like the voting that you don't even think is fair, the voting that you think that is compromise, and like and is hacked.
Yeah, and to be honest, like for me, I mean, I do care who wins, but to me, as long as the voting is fair, I don't give a shit. Like, okay, the Democrat won this time, big deal. Okay, well, we'll do better next time. But at least the voting was fair. But that's
Right,
not
but
what.
I mean, at this point, can you confidently say that any election was done fairly?
No, I've kind of felt like that for fuck, like going on quite a while now.
I know we laugh and talk. Before 2020, we all kind of laughed and were like, say, oh yeah, it's like totally fixed or whatever. But then we'd also point to third rate democracies or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, fair and open elections. Like, but after 2020, it's like, who are we? Who are we to call out any other country?
I think
It's
now
like the pot calling the kettle black.
it was already happening. Like let's be
Yeah, no,
clear.
exactly. But now it's just like more of a confirmation of that, and
Yeah,
like now we know that we're no different from any of these supposed like third world countries that supposedly have free and open elections. We're no different.
yeah.
You know
It's been
that fig leaf is gone. Like we cannot no longer say that we are like this free and open country where we have like these fair elections and yada yada yada. When we have like these mysterious pipe bursts, at 2 o'clock in the morning that happened on the other side of the building, and the burst pipe was actually just like a little bit of a trickle from the pipe. If you
yeah.
yeah,
No,
go look into that burst pipe story from Georgia, and
yeah.
you'll find that what I just said was accurate. That the pipe that burst was on the all the way on the other side of like whatever, like kind of like I don't know if it was at a school, but like a campus, the other side of the building, basically, like nowhere near where the votes were being tallied. And also that the pipe that burst, it wasn't like it was gushing water, it was like a tiny little spritz.
Oh, whoops! It's burst. It's like it's flowing water. Like they're all ruined.
Yeah, exactly. That's the image that they put into your brain, saying like, oh, there was a burst pipe, so of course we have to stop, tallies for the night. But then no, they shut it down at 2 o'clock. They come back at 4, and Biden mysteriously has this crazy vertical upswing in the
Yeah.
in the amount of votes, and Trump doesn't. Like the number for Trump kind of like levels out.
LBJ stole his. It's confirmed that he stole his Senate election in 1948.
Hmm.
So, which came out well after he was dead. I think they found the evidence in like 94.
Hmm.
So he had been dead for a long ass time. And it's like, well, okay, well, he already damaged the country. Like, great, we found out he like stole the election in 48. Like, how does that help us? But
Hmm.
it's like it was happening back then. It was probably happening during FDR's time too.
Hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised. And I mean, there's always probably been some sort of like election meddling or people trying to,
Yeah.
but it's really like the 20th century that really brought
Yeah, I
that
mean, what is it? That was that clip from that movie that McConaughey was in. It's like Free State of Jones or something.
something like that.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
basically, like, yeah, he has to play the good white guy. He goes and leads like a bunch of uh, uh, black Southerners to go vote in an election. Um, and of course, like some good old boys are, manning the election polls. And they tell them that they don't have any Republican slips. And just so back then black people were for the Republican Party because they were the ones that were against slavery
right.
and all that other stuff. They vote, and guess what the turnout was? It was like 4 for the Republican candidate and like an overwhelming, like a laughable like amount. I mean, at least in the movie it shows. I don't know if historically that's true. I hope, yeah, But this movie is supposed to be based on historical events. So like in the clip that I saw, it was like it's like, yeah, 4 votes for the Republican, like 308 for the Democrat.
Yeah, ridiculous.
So yeah, like the idea of election meddling or interference or whatever is not new.
It's been happening
It's been happening,
forever.
okay? Like since like yeah, I wouldn't even be surprised if it was like even at the founding of this country.
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. To be honest, I would not be surprised.
Right? I mean, yeah, I know like the whole idea was like, they to build consensus or whatever, and like, that's why they didn't tackle slavery at the beginning, so they could, the southern colonies would join up or whatever, blah 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 blah. But if it came out that there was some sort of fuckery with the voting, I wouldn't be surprised.
But yeah, they can come after a president. They can do all this stuff because in reality, not honestly, I'm thinking the president really has like not. They have power, but like not like
Yeah,
a
and I
lot.
mean the president's not even supposed to be that important.
It was never meant to be.
He's never meant to be. He was never meant to be like, stock. The stock market shouldn't be fluctuating because something that the president said. It shouldn't. It just realistically, it shouldn't.
Nope. But
But, this is the
anyway,
world we live in now.
yeah. But it's a movie that made an impact on me. I'm more convinced now, just based off the evidence that Oliver Stone presented, and like I said, I'm not like a huge Oliver Stone guy. Like, I mean, there's stuff of his that I do like, but this is to me this is his magnum opus. Like this is probably Kevin Costner's best film too, to be honest.
Mm.
Um, but
Well, he's
it's
saying that you didn't like Alexander.
Alex. He's an Alexander.
No, but Oliver Stone directed Alexander,
I've never seen it.
the Colin Farrell one.
No, I've never seen it.
Okay, well, yeah, he directs that, and in that, and there is a bit of a conspiracy around that too, because Alexander the Great died at like 33, after conquering most of the known world.
Oh, I didn't know that he did that. I'm gonna have to check this out. That sounds interesting. I'm already interested.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because it's about Alexander the Great, and and it goes about in his life, and yeah, Alexander by the age of 33, like he conquers the most of the known world. So we're talking about like Greece and and Turkey, or what's now known as Turkey, North Africa, the Middle East. Uh,
Yeah, well, I do know. I mean, I do know about Alexander the Great and like that he did conquer the known world.
mhm.
But I'm definitely, dude. This is another. It's like a three
Of
and a
course,
half.
it's another 3 hour plus epic.
I didn't even know this movie fucking existed. I'm gonna have to check.
Surprise! Yeah. Oh, and yeah, it's what is it? The Val Kilmer's in it. He plays his dad, Philip of Macedon.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check
Yeah,
this out.
and
This sounds awesome.
yeah, and Angelina Jolie plays the mother.
That's right. Yeah, she plays Olympius.
Hmm.
Rosario Dawson's in it. Anthony Hopkins is in it, of
Oh yeah, I
course.
forgot about that.
Jared Leto.
Oh yeah. Jared Leto's in it.
I'm gonna have to check this out. This sounds dope. I didn't know that this movie existed. Christopher Plummer's in it. Um,
Yeah, it's been a while since seen it, so I can't
from
remember the entire cast list.
2004. It's about 20 years old. Yeah, I didn't even know this movie existed. I
There you
probably,
go.
I honestly, I probably would have watched this back in like 2004 had I known about it.
Yeah, it's really odd. Well, in terms of styling choices, it's really odd because even in the historical record, Alexander the Great was described as like having dark brown hair, but in the
Hmm.
movie, Colin Farrell dyed his hair blonde.
I don't know. That's
So I don't know. It's just kind of odd.
yeah. But yeah, I'll check that out. Like
Mhm.
hell, probably when we come back in a couple weeks, like we'll talk about that because that sounds. I'm always down to talk about
Yeah, I
like
mean Alexander the Great is he's a really interesting character. He's the one that solved the Gordian knot. Um,
yep.
He conquered most of the known world. He got all the way as far east as India.
Yep. So he's an interesting guy in history.
He died. Yeah, he died at like 33 or 35. Which
Yeah.
I mean, for back then was practically middle age,
but still, it's just like kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, I'm just like that. To me, this is a great film. It presents because it is based off of fact. That was the point of this film, was to present the case. And sure, there was probably some of the monologues that were given that was more like flowery and like maybe not actually
it was more creative license.
But like as far as like the people involved, the things that happened, that's all fact. And like I said, I'm so convinced now that like there, whatever you might think, there was something really shady happening, and it should, as people that live in this country, you should be extremely concerned, because that was happening back in the 60s. And you have, like, obviously then you have Robert Kennedy being assassinated, you have MLK being assassinated, Malcolm X was assassinated, although that was done by his own people. That was done by, or supposedly the nation. I think the Nation of Islam killed Malcolm X, to be honest.
Yeah, because towards the end, he turned his back on him, especially after he found out about Elijah Muhammad. And
he essentially like, I'm no longer involved with these people, because like they're and he actually and the other thing is too is he also started to change. He wasn't quite as radical at the end. I mean, he was, but he wasn't like, he was like, you know what, like I shouldn't have been.
He started to temper his perspective.
Right, and that's where he became. I think that's where he became even more effective, is because he wasn't so,
he wasn't so radical.
He was radical, but like not as like in an extreme way.
Right. He wasn't as radical as when he initially started. Because everyone knows him for like, oh, we didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us.
Yeah, that is early on Malcolm X.
That's how he started, but that's not how he ended.
Exactly.
And I mean, and it's interesting because Stan Lee, the characters of Professor X and Magneto, they were inspired by MLK and Martin Luther King. MLK inspiring Martin Luther King, and then and Magneto being inspired by Malcolm X, of course, early Malcolm X.
Yeah. And so you say that now, it's like, yeah, of course they were. It's just like I never put those together, but it's like, yeah, of course they were. We'll have to do a biopic month. Like, we'll do like Alexander the Great, we'll do Malcolm X, we'll do some of these other ones. That's gonna be a long month because a lot of those films are like 3 hours.
yeah. Malcolm X is pretty long too.
That's a 3.5 hour movie.
Yeah. But yeah. We can do a biopic.
I mean, I guess like, well, this isn't technically a biopic. This is more of an investigative film.
Right. And then again, like you said, it was just making the case.
Yeah. I guess we could could add in like the was it the Samurai trilogy with about Musashi Miyamoto. I mean, it's technically a biopic. So he's more of like.
I still gotta read that book, the Five Rings.
Oh, it's good. I think you'll like it.
I mean, I read The Art of War, but yeah, I want to read the Five Rings.
I wonder if there is a movie about Sun Tzu. It would make sense that there would be, but I don't know. But yeah, I like this film. I liked. I mean, I like is a strong word because it's terrifying, but I just wanted to talk about that again.
It was just well done.
Yeah, very well done. and I encourage everybody watch this movie. It's really fucking good, and it should terrify you with the power that your government does actually have.
Indeed. All right, let's keep things moving along. Man, let's talk about Bud.
Yeah,
The beer, not the marijuana.
yeah, that's true. This Bud is not for you, buddy.
Yeah, this Bud's for Zer. But yeah, for those of you who didn't know, Budweiser, uh, I think they, okay, this is just my opinion, but I think they really were gonna go with the whole Dylan Mulvaney, trainee, partnership thing. But once they started getting like the backlash, I think they immediately pulled it and tried to deep six it. But
First of all, nobody likes this guy. Nobody.
right.
Yeah,
nobody likes this guy.
I mean, all these companies are like supposedly partnering up with this guy, and like, oh, he's the he's so great, and like, oh, how we need to applaud his bravery, but it's like, no, okay, nobody likes it. No normal American person likes this guy. Mm-hmm. No woman, no man. And on top of that, Bud Light is a very popular blue collar drink. A lot of people drink Bud Light. And I was one of them. I will until this changes. I will probably never drink Bud Light for a long.
I've never been a Bud Light guy. I've never really been a Bud person. Generally. The only time I would consume it is like playing beer pong because it was cheap.
Are you in the group that thinks that Budweiser is just like rusty tap water?
No, I just don't enjoy it.
It's just not your jam. Like you weren't.
It's not my jam. Yeah, like if it's like the only option, yeah, I'll have it. But it's not like the first. It's not like I scan the drink menu, be like, oh yep, they have Bud Light, we're good. I'm not that guy.
For me, to be honest, I like the beer. It does. I like Busch. I like Bud Light. I like Budweiser. It tastes good to me. I do like it.
Okay,
but
that's fair.
I didn't go out and like buy a bunch of cases of Bud Light just so I could like shoot it up with a machine gun.
Kid Rock style.
Kid Rock did. Or he probably had those already because he was one of those guys that was like one of their promoters. He was a promoter of Bud Light.
Yeah, and I'm sure Budweiser sponsors some of his tours.
Yeah, because once again, because it is a blue collar beer.
Mm-hmm.
Regular Americans drink Budweiser.
Mm-hmm.
The same regular Americans who either don't give two fucks about Dylan Mulvaney, or they just they can't stand this person and they don't believe in the stuff that they're trying to promote. Mm-hmm. And listen, it's to me like Budweiser and they usually have great commercials like Budweiser, Bud Light, but it's similar like at this point, why does Coke or Pepsi still sponsor anything? Because we all know that they exist.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We all consume their products.
I know. It's have you heard of this brand called Coke? It's amazing.
What?
It's no, I haven't. Tell me more.
Yeah, we all know it's transcended the need for advertising. We all know it's there.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's I'm. There's a lot of times where it's hey, you know what? It's a cheaper beer. I understand that. It's not. I like there's fancy beers that I like, but you know what? I like being able to sit down at the end of the day and having 2 or 3 Bud Lights or a Budweiser or whatever or a Busch. It's I'm down for that. But for this, I'm I don't want to promote this stuff because I don't want to sit down and say I don't want Dylan Mulvaney getting more money. If the money's going to get this guy some help, sure, I'm down for that.
Mm-hmm.
Just because we are celebrating someone who has mental issues. I mean, not to the fact that he's a man like trying to be a woman, but like he's trying to be like a little girl. That's kind of like the guy. And the other thing about this too is like Budweiser really shot themselves in the foot because uh, March was like a huge month for them, like because you have March Madness, the NCAA tournament. That is something that Budweiser or Bud Light sponsors, which is I mean millions of dollars, probably billions of
Yeah, I
dollars.
mean, what is it? It's like a report came out today, like where they lost like at least market share. They lost uh, like 3%, and that's still billions of dollars.
Here's the thing, because they had the Dylan Mulvaney thing just before March Madness started. It's like I don't know what March Madness is, okay. And it's like, so you have a person that has no idea what the hell is going on, who is mentally ill. Okay, great. But like most Americans don't buy into the transgender thing, and you get a whole bunch of backlash. They cut all their advertising. They cut all their social media. They cut everything during March Madness, a time where they're gonna make a lot of money, and they
pulled up stakes and
they're hiding.
Especially the VP chick who was responsible for this decision.
She'd be fired yesterday, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, she's in hiding. Like the last interview, the last interview she gave, she was like talking about like how like she wanted to elevate the brand and like we have to move away from like the image of like the frat boys and we have it has Bud Light has to be more inclusive.
It's like, here's the thing though, women drink Bud Light too. My wife drinks Bud Light. She likes Budweiser, but it's like she's not gonna drink.
I mean, was anyone like was anyone slapping Budweiser's at a trainee's hands? Like someone, a trainee went and got like a Bud Light, and then someone came like slapped it out of their hands, like, no, this is our beer
for you.
Yeah, this is our beer.
Yeah, no,
it didn't happen.
Only in some fever dream of some like crazy leftist.
Yeah.
It's just like it, but it goes to the idea like what we talked about with other properties. Like you're taking something that people do enjoy, that is very popular, and we're gonna vulture it. Like we're gonna like hog it out from the inside, and we're gonna wear it like a skin puppet, and like try to turn it into something else. Like it's still the same thing, but it's not the same thing. Like it's invasion of the body.
I mean, I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know like why they have to elevate it. It's fucking beer. All right, and again, like the roots of it, it's associated with blue collar work. Why are you trying like
beer?
This is what it is. This is the whole ethos of it is that you dumb blue collar slob. You need more culture in your life.
Yeah,
and that's what it is. This whole ad campaign stems from this, arrogance, and egotism. Like saying like, oh, I'm gonna bring culture to like these brutish masses, they don't know about trans people. Like it's like we don't like the only trans these people are worried about is the transmissions in their in their '67 Chevelles.
Yeah, listen, I'm a blue collar guy. Beer is a blue collar drink. Okay. I mean, there are fancy beers like I said, and I do have those on occasion. I don't drink them as often because they're a little bit more expensive. Not which is fine with me. And I just I don't like. But here's the other thing too is like I'm a blue collar guy, but I'm well spoken. Like I watch foreign films. I watch I don't need more culture. I'm cultured enough.
Yeah, and on top of that, you're a NASCAR guy.
I'm a NASCAR dude. Trust me, Budweiser is a
like, staple part of your religion. I get it.
Miller Lite, Budweiser, Bush, those are like, come on. Like
Yeah, those are all sacraments in your religion. I get it.
yeah. Uh, I just, yeah, it's insane. I don't like this. I didn't, like I said, I didn't go out and buy like 6 cases of Bud Light so I could just like run it over with a steamroller like some people
Yeah,
have.
yeah.
And,
Although the argument has been made like that could have just been stock that they already had and like so it was already paid for or whatever.
which is okay, which is fine. You can do that if you want. I think here's my plan of action, because I don't go out and buy new Bud Light just to like have some sort of social media thing where you're
Right,
shooting it
because
up
what is
or
it? Because
destroying it.
you're doing you're doing the thing that you could accuse the left of doing, which is virtue signaling, which it is.
It is.
It is.
And here's the thing. I also like don't party foul. If you have, let's say you have like you just bought a case, you just heard about the story and you like, fuck, I just bought a case of Bud Light. Drink your case of Bud Light. And that's, let that be your last one, okay? Drink
Yeah.
it, enjoy it, and then let that be the last one. And then you find some other beer. Use that as a buffer until you find another beer that, at least like where maybe they're a woke company or whatever, but like until you find like another alternative, or at least one that doesn't hate your fucking guts. Um, you know, then do that. That's fine. That's like, don't waste beer. Don't like just pour it down the drain and like and start over. Like,
Yeah.
enjoy your beer.
Yeah, just like don't call for a national boycott. Just boycott.
Yeah,
Because like
you don't have.
just do it personally. You don't and if someone offers you a bud, you could be like no thank you.
Yeah, bingo, exactly.
I had the same thing because when Starbucks started their fuckery. I used to go to Starbucks all the time. I was a gold card holder, right? But then they started with all like this stupid woke fuckery, and so you know what? You know what I did? I didn't write an angry letter to Starbucks. I didn't like buy a latte and then like pour it down the drain. No, I just stopped. I just stopped going to Starbucks.
Yeah, that's what you have to do. Like,
I've been keeping that up. I mean, yes, there are a few times I do go, for convenience sake, but I only go to Starbucks if I have like a gift card. Like someone gifted me a card. That's the only time I'll do because I'm not spending my own money.
yeah, it's like you didn't rip it up in front of like, fuck Starbucks.
Yeah, no, yeah, I get it I get it, when if I'm not able to, because now again, because I've taken the responsibility of my morning coffee onto myself. So now I make my coffee the way I want it. I even went as far as to make my own flavored syrups. Okay,
That's nuts.
I know, right? But it's like that. I mean, but I went that level so I could have almost like the same experience of going to Starbucks and getting my coffee and whatever. And I'm not like that complicated of a person, I just get like an iced coffee with vanilla and 2% milk, and so that's not hard to do at home.
No, it's not.
And so yeah, so I just I made my own vanilla syrup. I made and then I didn't go as far as getting my own cow to milk my own to get my own milk. Right? I didn't do that. I didn't do that, but I went as far as I just went and bought like regular like instant, made it a little bit stronger, poured it over ice, you know, squeezed in my vanilla flavored syrup, poured in my coffee or poured in my milk that I got from the store, and boom, I had my iced coffee.
Yeah.
But I didn't. Yeah, but again, I didn't take every single one of my Starbucks gift cards and put them down the trash compactor. I didn't buy I didn't buy a latte and then like pour it out in front of the store saying you guys suck or go woke go broke. No, I didn't do any of that stuff. I just personally took responsibility and said, you know what, I don't particularly endorse the stances of Starbucks. So you know what? I'm not going to give them my money anymore.
And here's the other thing: I'm not gonna slap a Bud Light out of someone's hand or
Right,
whatever.
exactly. Like the point that we made here. Yeah, if I saw someone with the Starbucks, I didn't go up to them and like knock it out of their hands. Like, no,
That's gay. Stop
I know
it.
that's gay. Stop it. It's like no more conversations. Because I think the whole thing was like, they're like, oh, like let's, talk. Like it was like the race thing. It's like, oh, let's start a conversation about race. It's like, no, how about you shut the fuck up and give me my coffee.
Yeah, it's like I just want to, like I said, I want to enjoy beer. I don't want to, I'm not trying to make it a whole thing. And it's like, okay, well, I'm just not gonna have until like this gets changed. I'm probably not gonna buy anheuser-busch stuff for a while. Which is fine. There's other stuff out there,
Which is fine.
which is fine with me. It's like I like Coors. I like Miller Lite. I like stuff like that, and it's fine.
Absolutely. So
So
yeah,
yeah,
So just do a personal boycott. That's it. All right. That's all we're
yeah. You don't
saying.
have to make it a whole thing. You don't have to be an asshole at a party. You don't have to like you have this stupid social media cloud or whatever. Shut all that shit down. If you don't like something, you don't like where a company is going, or like what, I can't endorse that. You just like what, shit. I bought a case of Bud Light. Well, you know what? I'm gonna finish my case, and that's the last one. I'm not gonna buy another one. I'm not gonna slap the shit out of somebody who gets either buys me a Bud Light or slap it out of somebody's hand. Do any of that stuff. You don't have to like shout, be so loud. What speaks is money.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't buy their products, which is what's happening now, because they're not even like, it's gotten to the point where Bud Light is like one of the staples at a bar. Like you can go to any bar in America, they're gonna
They'll
have
have
Bud,
Bud. Yeah.
Bud Light on draft. They can't sell it anymore. Like bars are like, there's bars out there that have like, this is our big seller and nobody wants it, and so they
Right.
stopped
Yeah.
ordering.
There are reports coming in talking about how patrons that would order it, they would talk with another patron and then they wouldn't order another one. They'd order something else. And
Yeah,
so like even like at the local level, like the bars are even reporting in like a dip in sales.
yeah, and so like this, like because it was like one of those things. It was an automatic renewal for us because we always needed Budweiser, Bud Light, and
Mm-hmm.
now it's like nobody wants it. So it's like, well, we stopped ordering it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and their stock prices are plummeting, and that's the thing. It's like that's how you win. That's how you get these people out of power, is because, oh well, this isn't making money. We're actually losing a lot of money. Your decision was terrible. Let's never do this again. That's how, like, that's because people keep thinking, like, oh, well, we want corporations that really speak to our values. Like, no, we don't. I don't give a shit. Like, I don't,
Right.
I
Yeah.
want,
I don't. Yeah. Like I don't need a company to be Christian. All right. For me to enjoy their products. Like, it would be great. Like if they didn't support evil, like
yeah,
abortions and shit like that. That's all I'm asking. I'm not saying that like every employee at your company has to like take the Eucharist and recite the Apostles' Creed or whatever. No, that's ridiculous. But just don't just don't support evil things.
yeah. All I care about in this world, make a product that, like, either if it's food or a beverage, it tastes good. It goes down. It's uh yeah, like it tastes good. You wanna have more of it. If it's a product like that is like a motor oil, or like fucking coat hangers, does it work? It's like
Yeah,
that's
does
all
it
I
hold
care
my
about.
shirts up? Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, we're good.
I don't need to have, like I said, I don't need to have every employee like take like some sort of pledge and draw like their blood and on a contract that they're not going to do something. They can have whatever thoughts that they want. And hell, I don't really care if the CEO or like the company has a certain way. Just don't force it on me. That's
Mhm.
fine. I don't need the companies and like these big companies. I don't need them to have a philosophy. I don't need them to have like a, you know, like, oh, we we care about you. It's like, no, you don't. You care about the almighty dollar. You know, it's like, just, we all understand that. You want money, we have money. You need us to buy your products. Make a good product, and let's leave it at that. I
Mm-hmm.
don't I don't understand like why we can't do that. Why we can't go back to that again. Like that, it just seems like, and it's to the point where, oh, we need to, you know, we need to have two Americas. Like there's the woke America, and then there's the, you know, the not woke America. It's like, I just want, can we just have products that, like, these companies, like, just make better stuff. If your stuff is better than that person's stuff, I'm gonna buy it. You know, just stop it. Like, it's just, I'm tired. I'm really tired of all of this. I just want to enjoy beer. I just want to enjoy, like, you know, my fast food restaurant. I just want to enjoy ordering stuff off of like this site that has the stuff that I need. Like, can I just do that?
Indeed.
That's all I got to say about that. So,
All right. Well, with all that said and done, I guess we can move into our movie review.
all right. Why don't you give us the synopsis? I'm going to use the bathroom, and we'll get to it.
Okay. First, I gotta find a suitable. Uh, yeah, sorry guys. It's I wasn't able to find a still looking for a suitable synopsis because like a lot of the ones that I'm finding, they're just they're not quite up to snuff. Let's see. Okay, I guess this one will do. Yeah, here's a synopsis for Diabolique. Christina Delas. Say it. Della. Do you know how to pronounce their last name? Uh, it's not back. Christina Delasale suffers greatly at the hands of her brutish husband, Michel. She inherited the boys' boarding school they run, but it's clearly Michelle who is in charge. She and Nicole Horner, one of the teachers and Michael's former lover, decide to kill him. Who has a serious condition, is terrified when, by chance, she meets a retired police inspector who decides to look into the case. Again, this movie is from 1955. Starring Beric Clouseau, Simone Signore, Paul Murissé, directed by Henry George Clouseau. It looks like it was adapted from I don't know, is it a book or not, or a play?
So, yeah, I think it's, I want to say it's a book, but
The Woman Who Was No More.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's a novel. It's a novel.
Yeah, this came out the same year as our as the film we did last week too, with
Okay.
The Trouble with Harry.
Mm-hmm.
So, why don't we get to the, like, how did you feel? What did you think about this film? Did you like it, Andy?
I like this movie. I really did. I thought it was very well done. It was a suspense thriller with a twist ending, which I didn't see coming at all. I really
I
didn't.
did not see that coming. I was gonna say the same thing. This, I was like, Well, we're already breaking the rules of this film because they told us not to spoil it, but we're gonna
Right.
spoil it anyways.
Right. Well, this movie came out in 1955, so I think we're well beyond the point of spoilers or or necessity of spoiler warnings.
Yeah, the I did not see that ending coming
No,
at.
I like yeah, I couldn't imagine like that ending if I tried. I mean, yeah,
This
I mean, nowadays is it kind of like cliched and hackneyed? Yeah, but even still, like the lead up and the final payoff was just I just didn't even cross my mind.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking it at all. Like I was like, because you're trying to think like, well, fuck, somebody knows that they did what they
Right? Yeah,
did.
because it definitely gave me like who know I know what you did last summer vibes.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you think that like oh maybe he didn't die or someone saw these two chicks do this.
Yeah,
Um, and like and it was playing this cat and mouse game of them.
and what I so one thing that Vera Clouseau, who played the like one of the main
Yeah,
characters,
Christina.
she actually was really sick with a heart condition. Like
Mm.
she was dying. This is actually one of her last roles that she did. I think she died like 2 or 3 years after this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So her like her actual like kind of grabbing at her chest and like the heart condition stuff, like she
Mm-hmm.
actually was dying. Yeah, she was. I don't think that was acting. That was actually her like.
I'm dying.
Yeah, like she would get like those fevers and like kind of like when she was
Yeah, the
really sick,
sweats and yeah,
which is kind of it was really sad.
yeah.
She's a great actress, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and and now that I know the ending of the film, because you kind of buy in that like so because we don't see like what happens with like the mistress and the husband. It's like wow, she turned on her like her lover too, like and is trying to help the wife and like we need to get rid of this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like because they're getting their own type of revenge,
Mm-hmm.
and because they're so different, they're very different women. Whereas so it's like it's kind of an odd pairing, but like you buy into it, and it's like oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay, something.
Right. I mean nowadays people are so much more sophisticated. I mean partly because there's probably a bunch of these kind of stories, but yeah, like you honestly believe like that this this other woman, this mistress who was having an affair with your husband, and like he treats her just as badly as he does his own wife, and so you automatically believe that she's in it for revenge as well.
Yeah, and you see how like how kind of a dick that the headmaster is. I mean,
Yeah, the
he's
husband,
yeah, where
Michelle.
because yeah, he is he doesn't care about the kids that he like is the head. Like, he doesn't like them.
Right.
He doesn't like the school. I mean,
Right.
the
I
school's
mean, yeah, and it's clear that it's like it's Christina's school, like it's from like it was probably like in her family, and and he just married into it.
yeah. Um, so the food quality is bad. And by the way,
Mm.
that fish that is not that was rot that they said that it was rotten, they actually ate bad fish in that
Ugh.
scene. It's like I was like, oh my
Yeah.
god, so gross. That was
Seriously.
actually really bad. They actually ate bad fish in that scene.
Oh man.
I
So
was like,
terrible.
that's why you see it like on their face. They're oh, like they didn't want to eat that. It's like
Yeah. I mean, props to the actor, Paul. Who played the husband? Like he was tearing into it like it was like his favorite thing.
it's like, dude, that's a
That's
fuck.
acting.
God, it's like it. I can just like to be honest, like because you know what bad fish smells like.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's like I can just smell it. It's like ugh.
Mm.
It has this like really sour taste. Oh,
Yeah. Oh. Ew.
yeah. So, so you have that. So he's a dick there.
Mhm.
He treats his wife like shit,
Mhm.
and it's like you hate the guy. right?
Yeah. Yeah,
And so,
he's like, I would say like he's on par with like, Mista from The Color Purple.
dude, yes, I didn't think about that. I fucking hate that movie, by the way. Like, it's just, but like, yeah,
Wait, you hate the movie or hate the character?
both.
Oh, you hate The Color Purple?
I don't like the book. I don't like the
The
movie.
movie.
But like I said, I respect in the movie. I respect the acting because the acting is phenomenal.
Yeah. That's fair.
The story, and that guy is a fucking dick.
Yeah, that's because I grew up, loving Danny Glover because of the Lethal Weapon franchise.
He is
Then,
such
but then I
ass.
saw him in this thing. I was like, I fucking hate Danny Glover.
Yeah, good acting because like
Good acting.
how could they make this guy?
Yeah, I was like, I
God,
can't
he's
believe I
so.
hate Danny Glover right now.
We'll cover that movie at some point. Like I'll suck it up and like and watch it again. But yeah, it's
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, not that I have like such great fondness for this movie, or for that movie, but I would love, yeah, I'd love to hear your take on like why you don't like this movie. But again, for another time.
Anyway, so Michelle, like, yeah, he like, so we're focused on him, like how bad he is,
Mm-hmm.
and so what you aren't focused on is the mistress,
Mm-hmm.
and so you buy into like why like Nicole and Christina are working together,
Mm-hmm.
and she doesn't want to do it, or Christina doesn't want to do this or go through with it, but she knows that she needs to, and
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, it's so you're on you are buying into this, and there's this whole confrontation between Christine and her husband and Michelle, and she lures him into like or what she thinks is that she is giving him the what was it, like some sort
A
of brand,
sedative.
was it bourbon or brandy
Yeah,
that like
yeah, like well, it's whiskey generally, but yeah,
yeah,
but then but they also spike it with like some, a sedative,
supposedly,
supposedly a sedative.
yeah, and so he ends up passing out,
Mm-hmm.
and they dump him in the tub, and like they put like um a weight on his head to keep him down so he drowns.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they stuff him in a trunk, and by the way, in that trunk, what they could have just like had the trunk, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, the director put a body in it. Like it was a live person that was they weren't dead obviously, but it was a live person in the
Right, there's an
trunk
actual person in there.
because he wanted to give weight to it.
Right.
And so yeah, the struggle that those two women were going through is
That
because
was real.
yeah, they were carrying a man's body in that trunk. So it gives it a little bit of reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they transport this body from. They kind of do like a little bit of magic tricks like with the neighbors because everything's kind of like loud and like everyone's like very close.
Right. But actually, I will give kudos to the director for throwing all these red herrings into the movie, like
Dude,
like
so
because
good.
like the neighbor like basically
Heard everything.
having a record, having a record like, oh, at this time she ran the water, and then at this time she emptied the tub, and like basically making people think like, oh, the police are gonna come and like the neighbor's gonna give this information, and it's like, oh, it's gonna be all over for them.
And nothing happened.
Right, and nothing happened. It didn't go anywhere with the neighbors.
But you buy into it. It's like, oh shit, like but our characters are being smart, but at the same time, so are these side characters. Is like there's like I'm gonna get these guys, for like they're making so much fucking noise and like it's disturbing, and it's like, oh, this is what's gonna get them caught, right? Or so they like this is them like kind of like fucking up the timeline. It's like, no, we weren't there at this time.
Mm-hmm.
It's so really good stuff there. They transport the body back to the school, like so they arrive in like the middle of the night, and they dump the body in the swimming pool, and that's where like then it's like more tension comes about because they hear like a bunch of noise, like they're like, people are they watching us, and it's like they're just waiting for the body to be discovered,
Mhm.
and it's like, and so even while she's teaching class, like Christine is like
Right, she's distracted and constantly looking towards the
at the
pool.
pool, and it's like that pool is fucking disgusting, by the way. Like, it's
Yeah,
really,
yeah, it's all like algaed up and like no one's cleaned it out in like probably like at least a year.
oh god, it's so gross looking.
Yeah.
Everything about that school is like really like
Yeah,
disgusting.
everything is like kind of like run down and dilapidated and just not very well maintained.
Yeah, this looks like some sort of like Oliver Twist school.
Mhm.
It's like, please, sir, can I have some more?
Yeah.
Uh, and so yeah, that's the tensions. Like, and so she's trying to like, we need to find some reason for them to drain this pool because I want the body to be discovered.
Right, because normally the body would like through the process of decomposition would eventually make its way
Lift
to the top. Yeah.
Um, and so they end up draining the pool, and all of a sudden, there's nothing.
Nothing. No body.
He's gone. And then you're thinking like, what happened to this fucking body?
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I go, like, this is why I paired this with The Trouble with Harry,
Mm-hmm.
because we have like the body's just being moved around, and I was saying like, who knew about them? Like, who moved the body? And it's like you're not expecting who it is. Like, oh, someone probably saw them, and it's like they have their own sort of revenge that they want to get on, Christine or the mistress. And so you're like, what's happening here? And everyone knows that the headmaster is missing. They haven't seen him, and so it's like, oh well, is he in some morgue somewhere? What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And then you even have like the kids who like, oh, I saw the headmaster, he told me to do this, like, and like the one boy, like, where they like slapped the shit out of him
Yeah.
when he talks about like he saw the headmaster and he told him, it's like, who's, you didn't see that, you're a liar, he's a known liar.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're like, what the hell did the kid see? Like, it's like, did he turn into a ghost? Like, is this a ghost story?
Mm-hmm.
Is this like some sort of like weird, like, kind of more of a
supernatural thing?
supernatural thing? And like, maybe it is. I don't know. Did you think that at all? Like, were you being drawn in that direction?
A little bit, yeah. Um, yeah. I was starting to go more towards the route of ghost or some sort of apparition, and then. But then there was the scene at the hotel where like like supposedly where the husband was checked in and
Yeah.
and living, but like no one ever saw him, or at least they claim they never saw him.
Which I wonder if Hitchcock stole for North by Northwest, by the way.
Mm. Oh, yeah, that would have been right about that
Because
right time.
yeah, like yeah, because it's kind of like the same idea, like this hotel room that's set up for a guy that nobody's ever seen.
Right.
Um,
So I think like, oh, maybe it's just someone that looks like him, or or like the witness who saw them, maybe not kill the husband, but like definitely like dump the body.
yeah. What did you think about like the detective that like ends up coming onto the case?
That was a little weird.
He was very Columbo-like, right?
I'm sorry.
He felt like to me he felt like Columbo.
Yeah, kind of like the doofus is like, oh, I'm stupid, I don't know how things work, kind of detective.
Like, so you're telling me that when you raise up the sail, the boat's gonna go that way?
Right. Yeah.
Shut me on that fucking cigar, like he does.
But yeah, he comes at a really weird time.
This is where I don't know if you thought this, but I was like, oh, this is the guy that knows what they did, and he's coming after them.
I didn't think that.
Oh, you didn't? So I thought that
I
like
didn't think that.
I thought he knew exactly what was going on, and he was trying to trap them, kind of like what Columbo would do.
Ah, I see. No,
But
I didn't suspect it. Yeah, I didn't suspect him of doing that at all. I just thought like, yeah, he was like this kind of investigator who like, I thought he was gonna die.
oh, okay, so that's yeah. I see. I didn't see that at all. I
Yeah,
thought,
because like, yeah, I mean, we only have his word on it that he used to be a detective or whatever for the police, and he's retired now, and he just like takes these on for like fun or whatever. But I thought like he was gonna die, like 'cause he was gonna like kind of get close to finding who the who was behind all this, and then he was gonna get killed because he finds out.
yeah, and but for me, I was like, oh, he knows exactly what's going on. He's gonna catch these people in the act, and he's gonna trap them, and like he's gonna quote unquote solve the case.
Right.
And
Yeah, but
that's
I just thought he came in at a weird time, and it would have made more sense that if like they kind of elapsed time a little bit and went after the body went missing, like they would wait a few more days before they would then go and make a police report, and then
right.
that's how
This
the
guy gets involved.
yeah gets involved. Not necessarily because he's like, because it's weird that he's just like this old detective that just hangs around morgues so he could like maybe try and find like cases to work on.
He's the ambulance chaser of
Yeah,
detectives.
he's the ambulance chaser of private detectives. Yeah.
uh,
So just in terms of
yeah,
I mean I did enjoy the character, but I just don't think he came in at the right time.
yeah. Okay, I can understand that. That makes sense to me.
Hmm.
Um, I'm trying to think like what other
Right, but
before we
then
get.
to answer your question, like or to expound on your question about like did I think it was about it was gonna be a ghost story. Um, I started to think that more once they did the school picture.
Yeah, yeah, right.
And then like they took the picture, and like no one saw it, and like even the photographer didn't see him. But then you
But
see
then they
the
saw
guy's
that's
face in
right.
the window.
And it's like they saw him in the window. It's like, what the fuck? I was like, okay, this is definitely a ghost story. Because then you also have like the like as you saw his laundry, like his suit that he was wearing
Right, yeah,
being delivered,
clean and
right?
pressed, and yeah,
Yeah, it's just like, oh, what the fuck? This is crazy. And
hmm
so I was like, this is a ghost story. Like they're gonna, some and like you're not sure what the hell is gonna happen.
right, and then like wait, like I mean, I'm not giving away the ending, but like then like at the end, like he would come as a ghost, and he eventually kill his wife, because of like the fright.
Well, and because what she end like in reality, she ends up getting scared to death. That's what
Yeah.
happens to her.
Hmm.
Um, dude, well, I guess I don't know. Unless there's something, I'll cut to the ending.
Hmm.
So she ends up hearing about like because she's at the school by herself or whatever. Like it's night, and she hears all these noises, and she's already like super paranoid as it is.
Hmm.
And this is like one of those great scenes in movies, like this ending scene
Hmm.
where she hears like the footsteps, and you're wondering who the hell. Like you hear the typewriter that he's always typing on.
Hmm.
You hear like, and so you think like we're gonna see this ghost, and the bathtub is full of water, and you see his body is in the bathtub. It's like, oh shit, like who put his body in the bathtub?
Hmm.
And then he starts to get up, and you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yes.
That was my exact reaction. I was like, get the fuck out of here. Like he's some sort of like weird zombie thing.
Right.
Because like he had the like what we find out are like I like
Yeah, the whiteout contacts.
dude like because like the eyes are all fucked up, and it's like he had been like drowned, and it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
clouded over. Yeah, his eyes are like clouded over.
I was like, holy fuck, this is like, what is this? Like, what am I gonna see here? and you see like she's like, like, you know, she has a heart attack and she
Yeah, she
dies.
grabs her chest and yeah, dies.
And then he pulls out those contacts. And I was like, oh my god. He was playing them the whole time. And then you have the mistress come in. It's like they were playing her the whole time so that they could get her money.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it in reality, it ends up being a Scooby Doo story.
Yeah.
You are so drawn in, it's like you believe it the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, shit, this is what the fuck? Oh my god, this is a messed up movie. But it really is a Scooby Doo story, kind of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man, it was so good. Like, I mean, they
It's Old
really,
Man Jenkins.
yeah, dude, they drew me in, and like they suckered me. I was
Yeah, I mean, and weirdly, it's almost, and it's also kind of like, witness for the prosecution.
you got suckered.
Yeah, you
We
got
all
suckered.
in that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's so
Yeah, and interestingly enough, the what is it? The German actress chick? Her character's name was Christine too.
Marlene Dietrich. Yeah,
Yeah, Marlene Dietrich.
that's right. Oh my god,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's like,
it just
yeah.
suckers you in, and like you buy everything,
Mm-hmm.
and then like the reveal is like, get out of here, get the fuck out of here, like no way, like they suck, like, and it's so rare when a movie does that to me. I was like, man, I bought this so bad. Like Primal Fear is another one. I was like, I bought it like 100%,
Mm-hmm.
and then like they just like they're like, nope, nope, you're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, fuck you, movie. Like you got. And it's like
Yeah, no, yeah, that twist ending was just,
it's like when you get the
it's like
reveal, you're
chef's
like,
kiss, chef's kiss.
yeah. It's like when you get the reveal, it's like, oh fuck, of course they did that. God damn it! Like how did I not see this coming?
Right. Well, I think because they made the husband like such an asshole that I think you're just waiting, you're just willing to
You
accept.
want him to die. You want him
Yeah,
to be.
you accept that of course the mistress would turn on him, especially because like she started off with the movie with a black eye.
Yeah, she's as pissed off as the wife is.
Right, exactly. So like we're conditioned to hate the husband and sympathize with the wife and the mistress.
Yeah,
Even though the mistress was was sneaking around behind the wife, and like just because like she had a black eye, we're like, oh poor dear. Yeah,
yeah,
the guy damn, played on my emotion. We got played.
yeah. We got played, and but I love it at the same time. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, it's like, and now I want to go back and watch the movie, knowing what I know as the twist,
Right.
and see like because I'm sure that there's stuff that's telegraphed that I wasn't like paying attention to,
Right.
but I
Yeah,
also
but
like,
again, yeah, and again, like the red herrings were just so great because like
dude, it was great.
the neighbors and the apartment, and then also like at the gas station where like the service guy was like, oh, it looks like you got a leak there, and he's like, oh, I can fix that for you. He's like, oh, no, we got this, and like
Yeah,
like how hurriedly like they try to get out of there.
exactly. I was just like,
All just like these red herrings to throw us off the scent.
the and they did. It was done
Yeah,
perfect. It was
chef's
just
kiss.
chef's kiss. Henry Clouseau, you got me, you sick
Yeah, you
bastard.
son of a bitch. You son of a bitch, you got me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, but then the twist on the twist, at the very end of the movie, when the kids are all going off, back home or whatever for break, and that same kid that got punished for supposedly telling lies about seeing the headmaster, and he like again takes his slingshot and breaks a window, and he's like, oh, Madame, what's her face told me to do it. And again, he gets reprimanded again. It's like, oh, she passed away. It's like, how dare he's like, go stand in the corner for lying. And it's
Yeah.
like, and then like the music cues. I was like,
Not dead.
but is she really dead?
Yeah.
Or did she play the players?
Yeah. Maybe she did. But man, what a fucking movie! This movie is awesome.
Yeah,
Uh,
this is great.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm glad we watched this. I'm glad you liked it. Did you like this more than our first feature with Trouble with
Trouble
Harry?
with Harry. I did. I liked it more than the Trouble with Harry.
Okay. Like this just kind of like captured you a little bit more, right?
Yeah. I definitely got more invested in the story and the characters. Um, everything. Like even looking at it from hindsight, I thought it was like yeah, the characters and like the characters in the story were compelling enough where it's like it just got me in and it got me invested right away.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, it's like like I said, I'm the same way. I thought the movies paired well together, but I wanted to end with this one just because I was like, this movie is really man, it suckered me. I was like, you got me. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
and I do like it when a film can do that to me, where it's like fuck, you got me.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's like constantly throwing out, these things that throw you off. It's like, oh, it's gonna be like this. This is how it's gonna be. And it's like, no, that didn't go anywhere. It's like, oh no, it's gonna be like this. And it's like, no, that led nowhere either.
and see,
But then like you have a twist on a twist at the end, and just like,
yeah, it was just like, man, it's so you got me, son of a bitch.
yeah, son of a bitch. Yeah, for a movie being what like almost
70 years
70
old.
years old, it's still so good.
I too, and this is yeah. I was we did like Witness for the Prosecution. That's another movie that got me. I was like, I did not expect that ending at
Right?
all.
Yeah. Neither did I.
And kind of similar to like whatchamacallit with Primal Fear, which we haven't recovered that one. I'm not sure if you've seen that
I
movie,
haven't seen
but
it. You talked about it a lot, but I haven't seen it yet.
we're gonna do that film
Okay.
because yeah, that's another film that's gonna get you.
Mm.
It certainly got me. I was like, get the fuck out of here! Oh my god. But yeah, I'm glad you like Diabolique. Um, it's a great movie. I can't wait to watch it again.
Mm.
I own it, so I can watch it again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, but like the camera work, the the lighting, it's all great.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, why don't we give our ratings?
All right. You want me to go? Or you want to go?
Why don't you go? I want to hear what your thoughts are.
I'm giving this a 5.
Ooh, I wasn't expecting you to give it a 5. All right.
I know this movie was just too good. I mean, and I know I'm the one who like likes to ding people ding movies for like technical things or whatever. But this movie got me. It's like I know like yeah, it's like a little suspicious that even after he was sedated, he didn't like his adrenal gland didn't like kick in and like help him to like overpower like the women. Yeah, I was willing. That's how much this movie's got me. Like I was willing to suspend my disbelief for
I
that scene.
know that I'm like that's why I was like, man, like you really like bought into this film. Like you bought into like the story that they were telling.
Mm-hmm. I really was. Yeah, and I mean, like and then again, like, yeah, that's the thought that did come to me, but I was like, I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't disagree with you, Andy. I it's a 5. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Like the ending is crazy. Like because I thought that like this guy was like some sort of like zombie demon that was coming out of the fucking tub. I was like,
right, yeah,
because
because given the title of the movie, you think like there was gonna be like because also Christina was such a religious character,
right.
she was constantly praying and stuff, so you think like this was gonna be like like Christina getting her due for going against God, because like even initially she had like all like this trepidation about killing her husband, but
Right.
she allowed she allowed her worst side get the better of her.
Yeah, she was suckered into it.
Yeah, she suckered into it.
The crazy thing is like it was her being lured into being that type of to try to become that type of person,
Mm-hmm.
and it was all a ruse to kill her in the end because they knew that she had a weak heart, and that it would take in like something like that would shake her to her core and kill her. That's that's the evil in it. It's like they knew her condition. They exploited it.
Yeah, and I mean, just like thinking back on the movie, just all like all the steps that they took to make sure that she went through with it. That was insane.
Yeah.
Because obviously the husband knew the plan was for him to drink the whiskey with the sedative in it. But when she hesitated and spilled the first glass, on him, he probably was like, oh crap, she's having second thoughts. So he had to amp it up and make push her to that point where it's like, I have to kill this guy. And yeah, he did, because he smacked her or whatever, and
Yep.
called her an idiot. And so it just that's what pushed her over the edge. It's like, I can't take this anymore.
Yeah.
Just like the evilness of that man to push his wife that far.
Yeah. I also love the Columbo comes in at the last day, is like, I'm on to you guys.
Yeah.
And it's like, so you're telling me that when you drink this drink, you're gonna go down.
Yeah, you can be so sedated that it's gonna disrupt your entire homeostasis pathways, and your adrenal glands aren't gonna kick in, which aren't gonna help you to fight off this 80-pound woman.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, I highlight that part, but I don't care. This movie was that good.
It's so good.
Because again, if this movie was lacking in any other area, I would have for sure gone with that point, and dinged it and marked it down.
I bought this movie hook, line, and sinker. They got me on every angle, and I loved it. I am so glad I bought this film.
Mm-hmm.
Because I bought this movie on a whim, in my Criterion binge that I got. I looked at the synopsis. I was like, okay, that sounds pretty cool. I like a good little murder mystery type of movie. I had no idea what I was getting into.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know what? I'm kind of feeling like a black and white movie today. So I popped that in. I was like, and man, I was entrapped from the fucking first moment of the movie, and it had me the entire time. And so yeah, it's a 5 stars for me too. I like the acting, I like the direction, the cinematography, the story. It got me, baby. It was good.
All right, there you have it, folks. That's our review for Diabolique. Both Robert and I give this a 5. Definitely a movie to watch. I promise you will enjoy this. I mean, I know we kind of spoiled the ending, but I don't think it'll rob you of any enjoyment.
No, it won't. Because if you listen to our review before you watch the movie, go ahead and just look at the characters, see if there's any telegraphing that they did, and you can and to me that's also kind of fun as well, as how much was telegraphed, how much of it was kind of
given away,
and I think that's also fun to capture as well. It's oh man, because we're gonna be talking about aliens here pretty soon, and the twist there is spoiler alert, Burke is the bad guy. And it's you start to see now that you know that he's the bad guy, it's how bad was he? Did he turn bad, or is no, he was bad from the fucking start. And
was he just following orders, or was he kind of being ambitious?
Yeah, and it's kind of those things, and I think that's fun in movies too. When you know the twist, are you able to see it beforehand? And it's oh, now all of a sudden the character, you see the characters in a different light, and that's fun too. So yeah, this movie is not going to be destroyed by you knowing the twist.
No, not at all. Or just go about your life and try to forget try to forget our review of it, and then go back and watch it. Still go watch it.
That also helps too.
yeah, like sometimes like I'll even though I know the ending of a movie, like sometimes I'll if it's been a long enough period between me hearing the spoiler and watching the movie, I could still become engrossed to the story.
Oh yeah, same here.
So
Well,
yeah.
unfortunately, we are going to be taking a 2 week break,
Hmm.
but that doesn't mean that there's not going to be content coming out. So be on the lookout for that.
Hmm.
And we are going to be popping back with Mitchum Month, Mitchum May. We're going to celebrating our love for Robert Mitchum. Why don't we, when our first review back, why don't we do River of No Return?
Cool. Yeah.
I do have a list of Mitchum movies that I was thinking about us doing, but
Hmm.
that is one that we definitely have to do. Marilyn Monroe has never been hotter, and
Oh yeah.
Robert has never been better. So
Yeah,
it's
and he's
like
not a bad guy in that movie.
he's not a bad guy in this one. So yeah. So
Yeah,
I
one of
think
the
that's,
few. One of the few.
I think that's a great way to come back in May.
Mm. All right. So something to look forward to
Yeah,
in the interim.
yeah, if you're fans of us, you want to comment like maybe, hey, I like these Robert Mitchum films. Would you like to do one of them? I'm more than willing if we have some comments about favorite Robert Mitchum movies and one that I don't have on my list. I'll change one of ours. So
Mm. Yep. Well, there you have it. That's our stream for tonight. I hope you had a good time. I had a good time. I know Rob always has a good time.
I always have a great time, Andy. Tuesday is my favorite day of the week, by the way.
Yeah, well, yeah. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to check out that library of other content that we have. The Circle of Jerk's main podcast, episodes of Nocturnal Transmissions, of course, and Rob's gaming show Up by Up Down. Don't forget to follow us on our various social media accounts, Twitter and Letterboxd at PodcastDOJ, and Instagram at Circle of Jerks Podcast. And with all that said, we thank you for joining us. Come back in 2 weeks, and we'll do it all over again. Have a good
Sounds
one.
good to me.